What is up, weather enthusiasts? I'm your host, Pat's Path Predictor. Let's get right into the weather. All right, so this is the situation we have right here, ladies and gentlemen. There's an enhanced risk of severe weather issued for Kansas right here. Here's our tornado risk, which is at 5%. Wind is 30 hatched right here, which means we have a 30% risk of 75-mile-per-hour winds or greater happening within 25 miles of a point. 30 hatched, as well as a little bit of the 15 hatched right here, which means we have a 30 and 15% chance, respectively, of 2-inch hail happening with or more happening within 25 miles of a point over there. So here's the quick summary right here. A corridor of severe thunderstorms is expected today across parts of Kansas, with embedded swaths capable of producing very large hail, damaging severe gusts, and a few brief tornadoes. Scattered damage winds and isolated severe hail will also be possible this afternoon in the early parts of the East Coast, including eastern North Carolina and Virginia, around Virginia Beach over there. So that's pretty much the situation we have right here for today. We're going to be mainly focusing on the enhanced risk in Kansas over here, primarily because there is such a huge wind and hail threat over here. We're going to go ahead and show you the next run right here, the 16Z. It's not fully out, but it's out enough to really give you an idea of what's going on. As you can see, we start seeing potential huge hail cores in the next couple of hours, and then more storms start developing. If we can find a way to zoom in on that, yeah, that DBZ is cracking 70 according to the run, 73 according to the run right there. So definitely, it's definitely a situation that we need to keep an eye on. And we have more storms firing off in Kansas right here, more cells starting to fire up, some multi-cells up here, and some potential supercells over here that move through, and they start to weaken into the overnight hours through Kansas. And then we have a squall line develop early tomorrow right here in Nebraska right there, and that kind of ties into the next day right here, the next day. Well, not exactly, but there is a slight risk for the next day from Colorado, Kansas, all the way up to Montana, actually. So we could see a bit of severe weather in parts of Montana, Wyoming, those areas right there that aren't too mountainous. But definitely a very interesting situation going on right there. We're next going to go ahead and show you a couple of the soundings in Kansas. This is the first one taken in western Kansas over here. Lapse rates at 9 degrees Celsius per kilometer. That's a pretty big lapse rate going into this. The SRH at 1 kilometer is not bad. It's at 125 meters squared per second squared. Shear's at 17 knots, which really isn't going to inhibit too much tornado development. But at 3 kilometers, the SRH is 378, and there's 38 knots of shear. 6 kilometers is 48 knots of shear right there. So definitely in a situation here where we could see some tornado development, but like the SPC, we could see like a few brief spin-ups, maybe an EF1, EF2 if we're a little lucky or unlucky, depending on if you get hit today. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can really say about it. Once again, the Capes are on 2,800. The main threat's going to be mainly the very large hail and severe winds. And then we have another one taken in central Kansas. The directional shear is like 140 degrees right there, which, in my opinion, isn't the best for tornado development right there. The ideal directional shear is like around 90 degrees and very strong, which, as you can see, at 1 kilometer, it's at 8 knots right there, and the SRH is 54. 266, though, at 3 kilometers and 34 knots at that area as well. 6 kilometers at 44 knots. I will tell you right there, that is definitely going to enhance some supercell development, but tornado development, I don't think is going to be the case. There is a 5% risk. A risk is still a risk, nevertheless. But I see a greater probability of supercells firing up and producing very large hail than a tornado is spinning up. And if that does happen, maybe an EF1, EF2, once again at the greatest right there. Last thing we're going to go ahead and take a look at is the dew point and temperature going into this. Let's start with the temperature. The temperature across Kansas is going to get into the upper 80s, especially in central Kansas over here, right there. And the dew points aren't the best out there, but they are good enough for severe weather. We're looking at 63 degrees Fahrenheit compared to 88 degrees. So definitely some dew points in the definitely some humidity in the low 70 percentile range right there, which is enough moisture to definitely fuel a few thunderstorms going here and there, and potentially a few supercells as well as some multi-cells going into this. But overall, this does look like it's going to be a very localized outbreak if we get to that level. But we'll continue to update you here on the Pat's Path Predictor channel. We have more severe weather going on in the next few days, and we'll keep you up to that. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. It helps us out and helps us make more videos like these. The goal of this channel is to get more people engaged with weather. But with that being said, have a wonderful day, guys. Stay safe.